والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. All praise is due to Allah, and may the best of peace and blessings be on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Last time we discussed briefly the mutual rights of spouses on each other, and we did not talk about all rights in detail because there are going to be a lot, and just talk about the general rights that each one of them has as far as dealing with his or her spouse. Now we know, even though Islam paid so much attention to this relationship and talked or specified clearly the rights and responsibilities of each one of them, problems can happen. Conflict or disagreement or even discord can occur. And there should be some reasons for this, why it's happening. Understanding the reasons of the problems will help us a lot to avoid them. So in order to have a happy family relationship, a happy family life in general, you have to understand the philosophy of the problems, why they are happening, why we might disagree, what does it lead to. So we will focus tonight, inshallah, briefly on the problems, being them from the side of the husband or the wife. So let's talk about some of the practical problems or issues or things that can cause issues from the husband's side. One is that he wants his wife just for himself. He doesn't understand much that she has a family, she has parents, she has other people that she need to keep the relationship with them. So some husbands might not understand this very much, and that will cause some problems. It has to be understood that she has to spend some time with her family, she has to visit every now and then, she has to call, she has to have certain kind of relationship going on in there. We're not talking about problems on the sister side now or on the wife's side now. It should be moderate now. It should be moderate. That the time she's spending with her parents and so on. So number one problem, that a husband might not be very much respectful, considerate, understanding of that need on his wife's side. Number two is he doubts. He might doubt many of the actions or movements of his wife. So al-ghayra, or jealousy from his side, assumption, bad assumption, su'il dhan, he always assume things or think, this kind of virtual world of thoughts that Islam, generally speaking, warned us against. Allah said some of these assumptions will be considered as a sin or as sin. Number three, disrespect from the husband's side. Some husbands, they take their wives for granted. This is like mine. She has to do whatever I tell her to do. She has to go by whatever I decide to. Yes, we know he has the right to leave the house. He has the final word in the house. But that should be done, should be quoted with respect. He should respect his wife. He should respect her feelings. He should respect, her talents and skills and mind. By consulting with her, by not putting her down, especially in front of the kids, for example. That affects the wife so much. When he raises his voice, for example, when he is disrespectful somehow to her in front of others, especially kids. He might be disrespectful to her family, for example. That will affect her indirectly. With the least of disagreement or the least of problems that can happen, that will pop up, that will come up from the husband's side. That's not right. That causes a lot of problems. Number four is, we're still talking about problems from the husband or the men's side. It's going to be that, again, part of the mentality of the husband thinking that, or taking his wife for granted, thinking that she is a piece of property for him, is that he thinks that whatever money she owns is his, automatically his. Some, wives might have their own money that they inherited, they made certain money or something, but that's her own money. That's her own money. If she is willing to, help the husband somehow, which is very good, actually the Prophet ﷺ said, if you spend of your own money for wives to support the house, that's going to count double for you. It's going to count as charity. It's going to count as charity if you spend it anywhere for any good cause. But now, since you are spending it for one of the closest people to you, helping him, or family in general, that's going to count as maintaining the kith and kin relationship. So it's double. It's going to count as double for you. But at the end of the day, the husband shouldn't force her to give him or give the family or take from her something financially that she is not fully, agree to give. Now, number 5 is that many husbands, still talking about the husband, they care about the wife and everything, they bring everything to the house, but they might not take as good care religious-wise as he should do. Like they make sure the wives, the family is up to date as far as anything, as far as the house, as far as the fun names or whatever, but he is the leader. You are the leader at the end of the day. She might have more knowledge and she will end up teaching you, not a problem, but you are responsible for that. You are responsible for the level of faith of the family in general. You are responsible to nurture them spiritually as well as physically and otherwise. So she needs to study her religion. You need to help her do that. You need to actually spare that effort of her knowing, her rights, her responsibilities towards God, towards Allah, towards, others, towards you, and so on. Number 6, we're talking about some husbands who are miserly, who can spend left and right, but when it comes to wives, to family, they are very, stingy. They do not spend as they are supposed to, and that actually, this is one of the reasons that brings about or destroys love. Now, that actually make this person, if you see somebody who is miserly, you would hate him, even if he's not a friend. He's not that value or that characteristic in itself is sufficient to bring hatred or to make people dislike. So if the person is practicing this with his own wife, not taking care of his own responsibility, even though he is able to, just out of being miserly, he doesn't spend or he doesn't take care financially as he should do, that causes a lot of problems. Number 7, this category of husbands or men that are always, they are able to see all the details of everything, so they can highlight all the problems. They can see every defect and every shortcoming, and they do not let go of anything. So that causes a lot of problems. If you keep going after your wife and telling her, you shouldn't do it this way, you made this mistake, you were late then, that's going to be unbearable. That's going to be a lot. So you have to let go of a lot of issues, especially the minor ones. You have to let go because you don't want to blame for everything. Some husbands, in every session, in every talk, in every time he sees his wife, you didn't do that. You have to do that. You're supposed to do that. That was wrong. So that's not right. That causes a lot of problems. Again, this kind of husbands, number 8, they make up issues from nothing. They, for any silly reasons, they make up some reasons, or might be very minor things. This is happening with the kids. This is, the house is not being taken care of, whatever, and they turn to an argument, and then it turns to something else. Now, number I think 9 or 10. Some husbands might spend a lot of time outside the house. They can spend hours and hours with their families. I mean, like parents, with their friends outside, doing a lot of other activities. When it comes to family time, there is either no family time or very little. You know, they do not spend. Again, they take, most of these things can come down to taking their wives for granted. You know, this wife is there, you're able to go out and spend time with your friends and so on, but most of the time she's at home. She needs also to, you know, chill out with you, talk, you know, joke around. That is one of her rights on you. Now, some husbands also, they are very abusive. When you have to talk about our realistic issues, they, again, because they happen to be physically stronger, you know, they think that they can use this power at any right, at any time, that's not right. That's not right, and that will even cause more and more problems. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam never, even though he was married not only to one, to many women, he never did that. He never abuses any of his wives, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Some husbands, next reason, they are unfair. They are not fair in the way they are dealing with their wives. They look at their rights, they don't look at their responsibilities, and this, you know, injustice will come up in so many forms. He is not fair in giving his wife, you know, her rights. The next, on the husband side, next problem or reason that can cause problems, and this is, I guess, number 14, if I'm not wrong, is they, you know, use the word of divorce, you know, very often, or they threaten. Divorce is not being, you know, given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a way to threat. I will divorce you, or many of them, they even use this word even more than 3 times, and they are still living together. It's not meant for that, it's not meant to threaten, it is not the right time to use it at any disagreement. It's actually a final solution. A final solution after we, you know, or a final means to resort to after we have tried everything and nothing is working for so long, then it's a means to resort to end up this relationship, not anything like threatening or anything like that. That's on the husband side. And the list is open if you want to add more to it. Problems caused by the husband. We can talk about it after we talk a little bit about the problems caused by or issues that can cause problems and usually happen that can happen from the wife's side. Number 1, it's the same way. She doesn't, you know, she's not considerate to the family side of her husband. Part of being good to your husband is to be good to his family. You might not like his family as much, but it becomes your family in a way or another, so you have to be considerate. You are not there to like serve anybody or anything, but you have to be good. It's actually one of the ways how to be good to your husband, to show, you know, to be good to his family. Number 2, some wives might not take care of their, you know, appearance, beautification and these things, even though they do it as they go outside, even though they do it before marriage. But after marriage, some might not take good care of themselves in front of the husband. That's actually very much needed there. Number 3, some wives, they always complain. They always complain about, you know, about anything. She always look outside and how everybody owns this and that, and they have this and that, and we don't have like that. She complains about anything. That will cause a lot of issues. Actually, that's something like, you know, a problem in your faith if you are, you know, complaining. Because when you complain, this is qadarullah, this is the predestination of God for you. At the end of the day, don't expect everybody to be equal, to be identical, even though they are equal. Everybody's equal. The total of what I have is exactly equal to everything you have. But I might have more of knowledge, you might have more of money, you have more of whatever, but the total is, as we always know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just. He gave everybody just, equal shares of, total shares of everything, but the amounts might vary. So complaining, when you complain, you're actually complaining Allah, against Allah, like, why you're giving her more money and not giving me? You might have more beauty, that she is the same person, she could be envying you for what you have. So do not complain, because it will cause a lot of problems. Some might have more money, for example, and she is helping the family, she's helping the husband, but now she is always reminding him that she has the upper hand somehow. I help you. You're not able to do that, but reminding, somebody of the good deeds, of the charity, especially the charity that you help them financially, actually that will turn it void. And that will, instead of making this person like thankful to you, you'll be the opposite. You'll be the opposite. So, تَمُنُّ عَلَى زَوْجِهَا, she doesn't want to do that. She has to be considerate of the state of the husband. His job. Some husbands might have a special job that they need to be maybe outside home for more time at certain times. Special times, like she has to be considerate of that. Number 6, she shouldn't hasten to go outside and talk about problems or something. Some will talk about this. We shouldn't reach out to people outside the house or outside the family very quickly, because many of our problems, if you just leave it for a day or two, it will just die out by itself. It will go away by itself. Because I assume most of our, arguments and problems, they are minor. Now, some sisters, the next one, 7, they ask a lot. They usually ask. They never stop asking for the husband to bring them stuff, stuff for the family, the kids, the house, and she knows that he's not able to provide for all of that, and she might use, or actually misuse or abuse, that she knows that he loves her very much, and he would love to do everything to her, so she might abuse that by asking unnecessary things or so. And also she might, that's number 9, she might abuse her, his need for, his right, his marital right, his relationship with her, so she refuses to have the relationship, for example, with him. It shouldn't be used this way. That is his right whenever he wants, and that is also your right from him, and not because you have an argument or something that you misuse that. And I come across, issues that they have been like this for months and months, and just she stopped, responding to him or something because they had any argument about anything. Now, she might, one of the problems that causes issues, or issues cause problems, that she can go out, she thinks she can go out at any time, doing anything for any period of time without letting him know, without asking his permission. That's his right, to let him know where are you and things like that. Extreme jealousy, we talked about this. She might be extremely jealous about her husband. She doubts anything he's doing. She's, looking after him. Trying to find anything without any valid reason to do that. These could be some of the practical issues that happen from the sides of the husband and the sides of the wife, and can cause some problems. You can add, we have too many other ways that you can think of probably that can cause problems. But let's talk quickly about some of the ways to solve the problems, or trying to find solutions for the most common problems like this. in order for us to find a solution, we have to understand. We have to follow certain issues to understand the problem, and then we can continue. So these are some suggested ways to solve the problems. Number one is understanding. It's so important. You have to understand whether this is a disagreement or it's just a misunderstanding. Because many of arguments, they happen quickly, and it's all a misunderstanding. There is no real conflict, there's no real problem. It's actually a misunderstanding. You think it's this way, and you start, you erupt like a volcano, and you make a big problem, and at the end of the day, you discover it was just a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding on her side or on his side. So let's be, in control of ourselves to look at it. Where is it a real disagreement? What is it that we disagree about? So let's try to look at that. Number two, if we find a disagreement or something, yes, we disagree. We understand now that she wants to go this way, I want to go this way. It's clear. Let's go back and look at our situation. Because usually we take our situation for granted. Truth is mine. It should be my way. That is right. No. Now we understand that there is a conflict. Make sure it's a conflict. It's not a misunderstanding. There is a real problem in there. A real disagreement. And then look at your side. Look at your position. Is that the right stance? It's not only because that's what comes to your head or that's what you think that should be correct or it should be right. Double check. Look at your actions. Maybe this is happening to you because you're not good with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some of the good people, righteous people, companions, they used to, every time they have an argument with the wife or something, he said, I know, this is happening to me because of my sins, because of that. And he tried to double check his relationship with Allah so everything will be fixed automatically. Now, if we have a disagreement or a conflict or something, again, we have to contain it. One of the reasons to solve it is to contain it. Quarantine, do not take it outside unless, you are sure you have to take it outside somehow. And give it some time. Maybe you will be able together to solve it. Time, if you give it some time, maybe you will be able to solve it with the time. If not today, maybe tomorrow. Not this week, maybe next week, next month. But if you are sure that this problem continues to persist and you're not able to find a solution, maybe then you can think. But one of the ways to solve the problem is to continue between you. Do not hasten again to go outside. If you are discussing an issue, and I'm focusing today on practical, issues. If you have a problem, make sure, like these researchers in labs, they get to the microscope and they try to magnify or look at certain. So look at this very issue. Go deep into it and talk about it. Do not do not talk about 10 issues at the same time. Do not try to, you're trying to solve the problem. This is one of the suggestions. You're trying to solve the problem not only to prove that she is wrong or he is wrong. That shouldn't be one of your goals. Your goal should be that you try to find what is the truth, what is the correct way to deal with it. Not to prove that you are wrong. Because if you're trying to prove she is wrong or she's trying to prove he is wrong, that's usually what's going to happen. They will try to build the case by recalling or introducing so many other problems that you do. Yes, you do that, and you usually do it. You remember you did that. You're not talking about the problem that happened 5 months ago or 5 years ago. That's not what we're discussing now, why you're talking about it. So you shouldn't, take it as a chance to bring up all the issues and talk about all the issues. That's not gonna, even though that's correct and she was mistaken, he was mistaken in all of these, but that's not gonna help now. You should focus, like, this researcher at the lab, you're looking at this now. She has been out for 3-4 hours, whatever, without the husband knowing. That's what we're talking about right now. So let's focus on this very issue. She is trying to, whatever, let's focus on this so that will help us save time, find solutions for what we're talking about without remembering, or bringing to the table other previous issues and so on, opening old files to each other. That would actually make it even harder to solve the problem because you're trying to, you go even far from each other. When we talk about any issue, that's number 6, I guess, of the suggestions to solve the problems. When we talk about the problem, trying to discuss it and so on, let's speak that this is my understanding. You respect the other person. You're trying to show them that, that's my understanding. My understanding is you were not supposed to do that because you're trying to speak what you believe. Not necessarily again that it should be this way because she will also try to prove her side. And then, let's have some kind of dialogue. Some kind of dialogue rather than, some kind of judges speaking or leaders speaking. No, we're trying to have some kind of, friends speaking. So it's a double channel, if you want, to speak. So a dialogue will help, will always help. One of the ways that will help also, number 7, is at the beginning, do not just, again, erupt like a volcano and start. That's gonna, most likely turn off the other person or make him or her take the defensive side and try to, if you are saying that number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, like I'm mistaken and all of that, automatically I will be thinking defensive. No, I was not. That you're actually wrong. You don't want to do that, but you want to open that, I know, by speaking about the good, sides or the good issues or the good things, you have done this and that. Maybe in this very issue, right, you have done this, it was good for me to do that, or to say that. But then, what I disagree with is, 1, 2, 3. So you open up the heart and the mind of the person, of your husband or the husband, by reminding, by giving some kind of acknowledgement, some kind of heart opener, if you want, before you start shilling, them off with the mistakes and the problems and accusations and so on. No. So you start talking about the positive things, the good things. So again, that you will by doing that, you will cause shaitan to go away from them, because the person will, if somebody's talking to me, even if they will blame me after that, they will say, you know what, Shaykh, for example, mashallah, you're a good imam and you give that. I will like it when you start talking about this, even if after that you say, but you know what, you said that and it was probably not the right thing to say. Most likely I will accept it from him because, but if he comes and says, Shaykh, you were not supposed to do that, you did that. So we are humans. You want to use this kind of, the minute you start attacking, shaitan will come. And if you are attacking 50%, he will make it look to the other side as if it's 70, 80, 100%. So you want to push shaitan away by getting him or her closer to you. By mentioning the positive, good things, before you mention the bad ones. As you are speaking, do not always look at your rights. That's number 8. We're always, when we are, discussing something or we have disagreement, we look at our right. That's mine, and I have to get it, and I'm shooting for it, and this is what I'm looking at. No, look at your right and look at your responsibility at the same time. Put them, next to each other so you will be fair. We're talking about being fair last Friday. So you've got to look at both of them, not just looking with one eye at your rights, ignoring your responsibilities, or trying to magnify your rights or so on, because you have to be fair. As you are requesting your rights to be respected, you have to also do the same to the other person. Number 9, as we are discussing, if we adopt that, so assuming that there is no, you started a dialogue very peacefully and now it's working out, you are focusing on the problem, everybody's defending himself or trying, not actually defending, trying to show or build up his case or show his position or her position. So, as we are doing that, you might down the road discover that you are mistaken. For example, relatively, somehow, you agree, yes, I was wrong in here. But shaitan will come. Many of us might not or might find it hard to admit that they were mistaken. They don't want to say it. They don't want to, they are not courageous enough to admit that, and they think it shows like they're weak. It's a weakness to say I was wrong, I'm sorry, or anything. No, that's actually one of the points that shows that you are strong. That's the point of strength. When you admit the mistakes, that you were mistaken and you apologize or something. So you have to be courageous enough to admit the mistake in case you. That's very much better than going on, continuing to adopt or continuing to defend or continuing to adopt what you were adopting, even though you know now it was wrong. No. Number 10, we discuss the issues, we disagree, we know, we put everything in the right track, but at the end of the day, you might end up with a husband, having, I don't want to say chronic problems. He is like this. I mean, like, he's gonna be always like, over judging or something. You know your husband. Or your wife might have, that's your wife. She's gonna be always, oversensitive, for example, or anything. Usually sisters will be sensitive, but she's even more so that should be understood. How to deal with that is patience. You have to keep it in mind that your wife is, has more sensitivity than normal or something. Your husband is like that. So you have to know that when you know it, and it's not going to change, at least in the near future or something, you've got to deal with it. One of the ways to help you deal with that is the sort of patience. You have to be patient. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was married to more than one woman, and Safiya, for example, his wife, she was a very good cook. She used to do very nice food. And one day he has his friends coming, and she cooked a very nice tray of food, whatever it was. And then the person was bringing it to the guest of the Prophet ﷺ sitting there, and he passed by Aisha, his other wife, and she didn't like it that Safiya is like gaining a point. She made a very nice food that everybody is happy with it or something, and it smells very good. So she just pushed this person to spill the food, and the person fell and he broke the tray. It was made out of this not metal or anything. So the food, the tray broke and the food got on the floor. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though it's usually anybody in his place, he would feel very much embarrassed that his wife would do that in front of guests and everything. But what he said, غَارَتْ أُمُّكُمْ, your mother. He's talking to the believers, and all the wives of the Prophet, we know they are like mothers for us. Allah said they are your mothers. He said your mother just felt jealous. He's trying to find an excuse for her. I mean, he understands that, it's normal, usually normal for a woman to feel jealous, especially if, she's, that's in a situation like this, in a context like this. He was collecting the food, getting the food back, and so on. He said, it's okay, your mother. Everybody was like looking with a red eye and giving nasty looks, how could she do that? And he didn't feel embarrassed or anything. He actually said, he didn't want to say Aisha or my wife. He's actually reminding him that she's your mother. You don't want to have any bad feeling against her. Your mother felt jealous. So that should be understood. So sometimes you have to understand like your husband, or the husband understand his wife, where she's coming from, the package of thoughts, the package of everything she goes by. But then later on, because that was not right, actually it was Aisha herself, she said later on, Ya Rasulullah, I know I made something wrong, but is there anything that I can do to fix that? He said, well, you broke her nice tray, you have to bring her another tray, and you also wasted that food, you have to make similar food and give it back to her. Now, One of the very important suggestions or solutions for many of our problems, actually it's a preventive way or means, is to be satisfied with the qada of Allah to you, the predestination of Allah to you. Be satisfied with yourself first, how you look, how much knowledge or education you got. Be satisfied with yourself. And then be satisfied with your life in general. I mean, at the principle, as a principle, like you living here, having this husband, having these children, living this kind of, or being at this living standard, have the basic, kind of rida, which is satisfaction. If you are satisfied, you will not complain a lot. You will avoid a lot of these problems. And you have to know that you are not the only person, because everybody having a problem with his wife or a wife or a husband, they think that they usually think everybody's okay. Everybody in the community, everybody in the city, look at the people. You don't see them at home. You just see them chilling out at the beach or at restaurants or the community coming or talking in front of people. You want everybody to just fight in the streets so you know that they have problems. Sometimes it happens, but I mean, you're not the only one. Everybody will have problems. Actually, we're not in heaven. Inshallah, when we are in heaven, all of us will not have any problems. That's one of the pluses of heaven. No problem whatsoever, no disagreements. You will not even have any bad feelings. So welcome to life. You will have disagreements and problems and issues and things. So you have to know this, to begin with. Number 12, it's very important, do not try to solve the problem or even talk about the problem or the issue or the argument at times of anger. You're angry now. Let's fix it right now. Let's talk about it right now. You're not going to go nowhere before we talk about this and we fix that. Actually, you're not going to fix it. You will add insult to injury. You add fuel to fire. You got to go fix yourself first. Fix your emotions, be calm down again and everything, before we can talk about it. And I always quote this story, that happens. A lady, her husband was coming from work or something, and she was a very bad temper. And the husband came and she said, she disagreed about it, I even forgot what was the issue. It didn't happen with me, it happened with somebody else, and Sheikh mentioned it. And she said, well, they kept discussing it. She said, you have to divorce me right now. Divorce me. I don't want to live with you. I don't want to live with you anymore. He said, well, okay, we will talk about this, but, I'm going to go out right now so we can. He said, no, you're not going to go nowhere. Divorce me. And then he said, no, leave me. And as he was trying to go out, she locked the door and she got the key. And actually, she kind of threw the key from the window or something. She said, no, you're not going to, or she got it. No, she didn't throw it. She got it. He said, well, please, let me go right now because you are hungry, I'm hungry, you're not going to, he said, you are not going to go, I'm not going to open the door unless you divorce me. He said, all right, you are divorced, give me the key. She started crying very much. She said, you divorced me so easy like this? You don't love me, you're just like, So we don't want to even discuss, issues when you are angry, because it's not gonna go nowhere. It's gonna add more problems and so on. Number 13, when we are having an argument or a problem or something and we're discussing it, one of your strategies is that you are having something in your mind. That I want this. You have 100% of things that you want to achieve. So you want her to do this, and you think this is, the duty on her. She, at the same time, she has certain things in her mind. But actually, if you insist to have everything and to achieve everything you started, the dialogue with, and she insisted to have 100% of what she has, then so who will give you 100%? Now we both agree that we disagree. We have a disagreement. So you have a list of 10 things in your mind. She has a list of 10 things in her mind. And you're not willing to compromise. She's not willing to compromise. You want the 10 things to be done. She wants the 10 things to be done. How in the world this a problem like this, such problem can be solved. You have to be ready to compromise. Be ready to let go of some of your rights. You think they are your rights. You have to compromise, so you will split the differences. Compromise as far as issues, okay, you know, if you get 50% of what you're asking, that should be good. Let's also be in control of ourselves in such a way that we will be able to deal with everything. Like, we expect anything and everything to happen. Because one of the problems is that, you know, you overreact. So, problem happened, she made a problem, she made a mistake, or one of the kids made a mistake. But now your reaction, you actually were overreacting, that you caused a bigger problem or so. So be able, you know, expect anything, do not hasten to say anything or to react in any way or so on, because part of the solution to the problem is to calm down. Number 15, many of our problems are actually, they come down to financial, you know, things. So both of them should know that money is not everything in life. Financial things or money cannot bring happiness. Actually, a lot of people, they have a lot of money but they are not happy. And vice versa, you might see poor people or the middle class people or something, and they are living best kind of life, full of happiness and everything. So money is not everything. You know, financial things, money is just a means to live your life, but it's not everything about life. It's not, it doesn't bring happiness. It causes a lot. It causes a lot of problems between them. Number 16, let go of shortcomings, problems, things, especially those that are not meant. He didn't mean to hurt you by saying that. She didn't really mean to be disrespectful to you by doing this action or something. Like Sayyidah Aisha, as we mentioned in this story that we quoted, he knew that she didn't mean to embarrass the Prophet in front of his guests or something. He knew that. He knew where she's coming from. She did it because he knew her motives to do that. So part of that, if we understand that, that will help us to solve the problem, at least, you know, partially. Okay, that should be enough, inshallah, if we apply these strategies. If we first understand the problem and we follow the first list that is talked about, and then we try to adopt those strategies to solve the problems, that should help us, inshallah, solve and contain many of our problems, inshallah. Well, the floor is open now if you have anything to add. Either the first list is still open, issues or things that could be done by either one of them that causes problems, or the second list, which is solutions or strategies to solve the problems.
You said that Sahaba, they said when they had problems at home, they would see if there's anything wrong with their religion between Allah.
Yes, yeah. One of the companions, he said like that. I know how I am with Allah, like how Allah is like. Like I see my situation with God in the way my wife is dealing with me, and actually he said in the way like my mount is dealing with me, because you know they used to ride camels and stuff. But sometimes he's not, you know, it's giving him a hard time. His wife is giving him a hard time. So he was actually looking at himself before he's accusing her. Maybe this is a punishment from God that she doesn't want to go the way I want. That's why problems happen. That doesn't mean to ignore, you know, these problems, but to first look at yourself. Maybe you are not good enough with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why such things happen to you. So they used to look at themselves before they look at others. Yes?
These last two classes you had mentioned that like whenever the wife leaves the home, she should notify her husband, or when she's going somewhere. What if that's not a request from the husband? Is it still like something that she should do, or if he's not quite worried about it?
It all goes back to understanding between them. As far as it is his right, yes, it's his right, but like it's not, she is not like working full time for him, that she should, you know, she doesn't sign when she comes and sign out, sign in when she comes, sign out. It doesn't work this way. If she knows, and actually this is I assume most husbands and wives will have understanding, she will know if she goes to that, you know, trip or that place, he's fine with it, that's fine. But, you know, if she thinks that, you know, like she wants to go, for example, to another city or something, maybe some husbands would be fine, you know, just let me know as you are in the way or something, and they are fine with that. But other husbands, they would mind. So it comes down to understanding between them.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you suggest some of the issues that can cause problems? I know that you can suggest a lot of issues from the husband side, but let's again look at ourselves. You are women, and most of you are married, so we are trying to have this kind of self-critique in here. Be courageous enough to talk about that. What do you think that some of the things that women do that really cause problems, if they do it differently, it will not cause problems? Women.
Being so independent.
Being so independent,
Like,
in what sense?
trying not to be sufficient on your husband.
Okay, so like, are you saying that she shows him in a way or another that she doesn't need him? Is that what you're saying? Okay, yeah, that's a good point. You have to show him or make him at least feel that he is, you know, he is there. Right. What else? Well, what if we come to the husband side? What are